Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, welcome back to... Oh my god! How on earth did I forget that? Oh my... Let's start again. Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, welcome back to Budget with Ira. In today's video, I am going to remember what the name of my channel was called, then I'm going to tell you the A to Z of budgeting. Now this video is a little bit of fun and it's also just a little bit of me sharing a bit of my insight and things that I've learned along the way, but it was also my opinion. So the sorts of things that I think of them might be slightly different to yours. However, if you're on the start of a budgeting journey or you're halfway through and you're looking for a bit of motivation or a bit of a prompt, then this might be a great video for you. So let's get straight into it, shall we? A is for accounts. Now there's lots of different types of accounts, there's all sorts of different things. There are a couple that I use, and I'm going to tell you about the ones that I use. So I have a normal bank account, just a normal current account, and that is where all of my money comes into. Then I have a separate account with the same bank where I put all of my bills. All of my bills come out of that account, obviously. Every single month I send it exactly what it needs so that every single bill will be paid on time, and I know that I can't touch that money. That money's in a separate account. I put a little bit extra in every single month for a little bit of wiggle room in case a bill is unexpectedly a little bit more than it normally would be. I do see other people doing that as well, and it's something that really works for me. I also have another account, and this is with another bank, and that bank is called Monzo. And if you are a UK resident, you can use my code in the description. When you set up a Monzo account and you pay for something, you get £5, and so do I, as long as you signed up using my link below. I have a Monzo account because that is really good because it has little pots in it, and a pot is exactly like a sinking fund, however is digital. I have all of my digital sinking funds in there, but it's things that hold more money than I'd feel comfortable having in cash at home. When one of my sinking funds gets a little bit too big, as in over £500, I withdraw that money from my little binder and I move it over to that Monzo account. Now some people prefer to have all of their money and all of their bills going out of the same one account, and that's absolutely fine. Whatever works for you as long as you are achieving your financial goals. B is for bills. Now budgeting is not always sexy. When paying off debt and budgeting, bills become really important. When you get your income and everything that you've made for that month, probably the most important thing you need to consider is my bills, making sure that I have enough to make sure that I cover just the basics in terms of the bills. And bills are very different to a debt because debt eventually, if you're doing the right thing, will go away. Bills never go away, and that is a sad reality of life. If you don't pay your bills, the privilege of having that bill will be taken away from you. If you don't pay electric bill, your electricity will be cut off. So making sure that your four walls, i.e. your bills, are the most important thing in your budget and always paid for no matter what, is the most important thing. Then you'll be fine. C is for challenges. Now I don't know about you, but having something fun always makes me more motivated to make it happen for myself. A saving challenge essentially is something that makes you push yourself in terms of your savings or your debt freedom. I sell plenty of saving challenges on my Etsy store. However, there are so many about, and there are loads of free resources available to you as well. And a savings challenge is something fun, like a colouring in sheet or a little tick off sheet. I have on my store like dice challenges. So for instance, you have an envelope with it and you roll a dice and it tells you how much to save. So a challenge challenges you. It makes you go out of your comfort zone and potentially save more than you were intending to. Saving challenges can be a very fun way to save up for that thing that you were excited about, or put a little bit extra to debt, or just make a difference within your budget. Always consider a savings challenge because they are wonderful ways to save a little bit extra money. D is for debts, and obviously I need to include debt on an A to Z of debt and budgeting, but the reason why I include in the word debt is because debt does not define you. Debt is not the most important thing in your life. Yes, if you've decided that debt is something that you want to pay off, yes, absolutely, go ahead and do that, but it does not define you. Your self-worth isn't held in a number that you owe to somebody else. And I think it's really important to remind yourself of that every now and then because it can weigh heavy. It can feel like the toughest thing in the world, and it can make you lose a lot of self-worth in yourself because you beat yourself up about it. It does not define you. E is for emergency fund, and this is a very, very important part of debt freedom. And I know that saving feels counterproductive to paying down debt, but an emergency fund gives you the flexibility and the ability to sleep well at night, knowing that if an emergency happened, you would be able to not add to your debt. Let's say, for instance, you put all of your eggs in one basket. You put all of your money into paying down debt. Now, let's say you're halfway through paying down all of that debt and a massive emergency happens and you have to pay out a bill for £1,000. Where does that money come from? You have nothing left over anywhere else. You have nothing in a tank because you're putting all of your energy into paying down debt, right? What might happen is you put it on a credit card, which means that you have just undone all the work that you've done by paying down debt. A lot of people recommend that your first emergency fund, like a baby step, should be £1,000, and then it should grow to about 3 months worth of salary. It means that if an emergency happens, you don't have to touch your progress. You can just take it from the emergency fund and you can carry on keeping on with your debt freedom journey. F is for fun. And for me, it was the hardest lesson I had to learn in terms of my debt-free journey. It's very, very easy for you to speak really, really poorly of yourself. I'm rubbish with money. I've made poor decisions. I don't deserve to do this or do that. Yes, you might have made bad decisions, but you are doing it off of bad information that you gave yourself. And now you have a better relationship with money and you understand it a lot more, so you're making better decisions. So you need to give yourself a lot of better credit. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is you need to have a bit of room for fun within your budget. Now, fun looks different for different people. That could be saving up for a night out every now and then. It could be going to the cinema every now and then. Making sure that you've got a little bit of money to enjoy your money, if that makes sense. If you're anything like me and you don't budget in for fun and you don't do anything like that, you're either going to be miserable and below the budget trying to make yourself feel better, or you're just going to go ahead and do it anyway, and it's going to be unbudgeted and you're going to regret it. Bestie, life is too short to not go to the party. Do you know what I mean? Making sure that you budget in things that are important to you will keep you on track, because it will stop you from falling off the wagon and it will make sure that you're actually enjoying it. And that, I tell you, I promise you, bestie, the best feeling in the world is going on a night out knowing that you're not spending too much money and everything is budgeted for. G is for goals. And goals can be very, very important. So your big goal might be to pay off your £10,000 credit card, right? Your goal doesn't have to be pay off £10,000, because that is incredibly daunting and quite scary as well, because you might see that huge amount and quit before you've even started, because it is such a phenomenal amount of money. Let's say, for instance, your first goal is pay off £500. Achievable, right? Once you've paid off that, why don't you pay off 1,500? And so on and so on and so on. So giving yourself goals throughout your debt-free journey is really important, because it gives you something really realistic and something that's not daunting and not scary to achieve. When you say to yourself, all I need to do is pay off £500, it gives you the power to make sure that it happens. But when you say, I'm paying off £10,000, that can be quite scary. H is for habits. Now, this is a bit of a contentious one and something that people might not want me to talk about, and you might not want to hear it, but for me, my habits were part of the huge reason why I was in so much debt. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I used to smoke 20 a day, and I used to spend £10 per day on cigarettes. That's £300 a month that I used to spend on cigarettes. Let's just talk about how much money I was setting aside to cigarettes, because I was telling myself that cigarettes were more important than getting out of debt. When I realized that that's what I was telling myself, I stopped. If you go to the pub a lot, or you like to drink out with friends a lot, maybe cutting down and drinking at home with friends and things like that, that might cut down a little bit. So things like habits can sometimes be a bit of a game changer when you just change up what you do. But recognizing how much time and how much money these habits cost you, when you really weigh it up and you think about what your goals are, something's got to give, and sometimes you might want to cut down. I is for interest rates. If you have a considerable amount of debt and you have debt from multiple sources, sometimes considering what are the highest interest rates will be beneficial to you. Let's say you owe 3 different debts. One of them has a very high interest, one has a medium interest, and one has a low interest rate. If you focus on the debt at the bottom with the smallest interest rate, yes, you might pay that off nice and quickly, but what happens to that debt that has the high interest rate when it's left alone and you're only paying the minimums? Well, it actually gets bigger. But if you redirect your thoughts and think about, let's pay off the debt with the highest interest rate, then what happens to the debt with the lowest interest rate is that yes, it grows because you're only paying the minimum, but it doesn't grow quite as an accelerated rate as the one with the highest interest rate. There's plenty of reasons why you wouldn't necessarily do that, and there's plenty of reasons why you might focus on the low interest rate rather than the high interest rate. But when you're thinking about your plan and figuring out how you want to pay off your debt and in what order, it is something that you may want to consider, because if you're focusing on low interest rates and leaving high interest rates till last, it may take you considerably longer to pay off the debt that you owe, which might demotivate you. J is for joint. And by joint, I mean joint like joint accounts. So if you're in a partnership with somebody, making sure that things are fair and even can be important. So when Jake and I were together, we would split everything down 50-50. But you might be in a position where your income is significantly more than theirs. So when you add all the income up together, if you account for 70% of the income and they account for 30%, there's no harm in you paying for 70% of that bill. And if you are in a partnership, making sure that you have that honest conversation with each other about how much you owe. So you might owe something and they might owe something. And you might decide that actually let's consolidate everything, because we can pay off all my debts, then all your debts, or the other way around, or together, because 2 are better than 1 sometimes when it comes to paying down debt. But once you've had that chat with each other, it might be the right thing for you two as a partnership to actually just pay off your own debts separately and have separate accounts and do that sort of thing. So making sure that you have that conversation with your partner or whoever you're with to make sure that you're figuring out the right thing for both of you can be a very powerful thing. K is for kids. Kids are quite possibly the most expensive thing in the world. Wrapped up within this debt bubble can be a lot of parent guilt. Potentially you've got yourself further in debt because you want your children to have a better Christmas, or you want them to have an amazing birthday, so you've chucked it on the credit card and you haven't been able to pay it off. When you embark on a debt-free journey, letting go of that can be quite a powerful thing. Understanding when these important milestones are and making sure that you've saved up for them can be a very important thing to do. So if you have children, having a sinking fund for each of them, having a sinking fund for Christmas, that can be very important, because even though you know when their birthday is, you know when Christmas is, but when that rolls round, it isn't quite a big surprise to you. The added layer of kids is making sure that they don't have the same relationship with money as you potentially do. So teaching them about money, teaching them about debt, teaching them about loans and things like that. I have some wonderful tools available on my Etsy store that will help you have great conversations with your kids and teach them about money if you're interested. They are linked in the description box below. L is for loans. A loan isn't always a dirty word. And true, a loan might be the reason why you are in debt, and you might have overstretched yourself, or you might have got a loan that isn't quite right for you. Loans aren't always a bad thing. And let me talk you through that. So let's say, for instance, you've been really brave and you've told your friends and family about your situation. And somebody in your family or someone within your friend circle has offered you money to pay off your debt, and they would like you to pay them back as a loan, interest free. Owing to a person and paying no interest can be an incredible thing. So owing one big loan isn't a bad thing. But also, if you are in a really dire financial situation and it's getting you down and you don't see a way out, seeking help from a charity and getting something like an IVA, which is a government-based charitable loan that you pay back at very, very small increments over a very long amount of time, there's absolutely no shame in needing that help, and there's absolutely no shame in asking for that help. So really considering, what are you capable of, and do you need a little bit of extra support, because there is always something out there for people to get a little bit more help if you need it. M is for meal plan. And this is probably quite an important part to most people's arsenal, if I'm really honest. If you budget weekly or monthly or bi-weekly in terms of your groceries money, making sure that you have a plan for what you're eating each night of the week can be quite powerful. Let's give the scenario that you don't plan. So you just go to the shops and you just randomly buy what you want to buy. A, you might not buy enough for meals for that week. You might spend too much on junk. But B, let's say for instance you haven't planned anything and then you're sat down with your family or your partner or just by yourself and you're thinking, what should I have for dinner? Oh, I don't know. And you have no idea what you're going to do. Why not get a takeaway? Why not blow the budget? Why not do something that's unbudgeted? If you know going to work in the morning, oh, tonight I'm having lasagna, it does something different to you, and it makes sure that you have a plan for what you're eating and how you're spending your money. So I would recommend doing a meal plan. It isn't for everybody. It's something that I personally struggle with. However, I'm getting better with it. Hi guys, gals and non-binary pals, thank you so much for getting through to the end of the video. You know I love it when you get through to the end of the video. Please give this video some love, make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe, and if you are going to comment, please use this emoji. And that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I don't know if you're going to enjoy it or anything like that. I just thought I'd put out something that was a bit fun. So I truly hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much to all the patrons that have joined us recently. I'm sorry that we don't have an updated list. It's the 1st and everything's all gone doolally, because where it's the 1st, some people's payments don't come out, so it doesn't quite work out, and then they can fix it by doing it within a certain date, and everything just goes a bit funny for a couple of days, and we're still within that it's funny sort of period. But also I don't have the internet, so it's really hard for me to just simply copy and paste something from the internet and put it into editing software. So I will fix it, and I will fix it soon, but it's not quite correct. However, I do want to celebrate 3 new patrons that have joined us. I want to say a massive welcome to Alenka Skok, The Spendy Unicorn, and Bianca Smith. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. It literally means the world to me. Thank you so much to even the ones that are considering Patreon, realize they can't afford it and might do it later on, because just considering to support me on this level means the literal world. Thank you so much. And that is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope to see you again. No, I will see you again on Sunday for the vlog. That will be fun. And until then, I would like you to have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, have a wonderful budget. Always remember, don't trust Ira. And I will see you again very soon. Thanks so much for being with me, bestie. Bye bye.